The other film that I watched was, I saw the Red Letter Media review of it. Shell, love you. I saw the Red Letter Media review of it, and it was an M. Night Shyamalan film, and it was called Old, and it is about a beach where it's about this island that has this beach where when people go to this beach, they age really quickly. Red Letter Media tore it to shreds. And for good reason. And for good fucking reason, did they? So with that premise, right? That this beach area has magic that ages you, like, instantly, basically, right? So you took us? The beginning scene starts with, it's a mom, a dad, an 11-year-old girl, and a 6-year-old boy. And they're in the car, and the girl goes, I wanna do this thing, and the mom goes, you can't do that, you're not old enough. And the girl is like, what? And the little boy is like, well, what about me? And he goes, and the mom goes, you can't do that, you're not old enough. And he goes, well, when will I be old enough? And he goes, and she goes, one day, right? So first of all, I get it, I understand, okay? You, like, that setup was so fucking stupid, right? Then they get there, and they've been invited there, and the kid, I don't know if they were, like, trying to write his character differently or what, but the kid made friends with the hotel manager's son or something like that, right? And they were going around, and the son that the film is about was going up to each character that was in the film and would say, what's your name and your occupation? Or, what's your name and what do you do for work? Hello, Sparks, thank you. So he went up to every character that was involved in this film and said, what is your name and what do you do for work? And that's how they introduced you to the characters. And one of the characters was a police officer, and they didn't even show him till later. But literally, that was how they introduced the characters. So there was, like, a psychologist lady and her husband, and, like, all of this blah, 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 blah. And then, whatever. And then they went to the beach, and they were trapped there, and they figured out they were aging. And this fucking... So, the worst part of this film... So, the son is 6 years old, the daughter, the older sister, is 11, and when they go to this beach, there's another family there that also has, like, a 6-year-old daughter, and they're rapidly all aging, and then either when they're meant to be, like, teenager, late teenager, or early 20s, the two that were 6 years old go in a tent together, and they, like, are looking at each other, and I guess they, like, form a romance. And then he's, like, touching her hair and stuff, and then they come out of the tent, and she's fucking massively pregnant. And the family all looks at them, and they're like, what did you do? And they're like, we did that thing that adults do, or something like that. And the dad was like, and the parents of both of the kids are like, what are you talking about? And they're like, we only did it one time. And the son is talking to the dad, and he's like, we only did it once. I didn't think that this could happen. And he goes, of course it can. And the boy goes, well, you never gave me the talk, so how am I supposed to know? And this was so fucking uncomfortable, dude, because, yeah, mentally they're supposed to be 6 years old. And so then she's, like, already massively pregnant, like, she has the big belly, and she has the baby, and she's like freaking out because she's like, what's happening to me? Because she's a child. And then they take the baby and they're holding it and they put it down for like 1 second so that they can clean it, and it immediately dies. It immediately dies. And everyone's like, oh my god, what happened? Why did the baby die? And the psychologist lady who delivered the baby is like, oh my god, we put it down for just a second, but a second is actually like a month in our time. And if you don't pay attention to a child for a month, they die from lack of attention and lack of love. And everyone's like, okay. And then the baby basically turns to fucking bones and dust. They had food because when they got dropped off, they gave them a whole bunch of food. And the families were like, we don't need this much food. But the kids were eating it because they were growing up so quickly. Oh, Frankenfurter, thank you so much. Champ, thank you very much for the 11 months. So the kids were just eating constantly because their bodies were growing so quickly. And then one guy went manic. And then some people were dying. There was like a lady that had calcium deficiency and her body just like crinkled up. And then she died. Because she broke her arm and it healed so quickly broken. So she basically looked like if you took a person and crunched them up like this and then dropped them on the floor like a piece of paper. And then she died. And do you know how they set that up? Which Red Letter Media pointed it out. She was at lunch with her husband and she was like, I'll take the calcium blast smoothie. How much calcium does it have in it, though? And they're like, a lot, I guess. And she goes, okay, because I have a calcium deficiency. So that's how they fucking set it up. It's called Old, and it's by M. Night. And that was their setup to tell you that this woman has a calcium deficiency. To just, out of nowhere, insert it into there. Basically, everyone dies. And the parents of the two kids, the dad starts to lose his vision, and then the mom loses her hearing. Which it's like, okay, we get it. They're old. And then they died. The dad died from old age. And then the mom was like really sad, of course. And she walked to the beach for a second. And then she turned around and she fucking died. I guess also from old age. This is a film called Old, and it was by M. Night. But it's based on a book, a graphic novel, people are saying. Except the way he directed it was so fucking bad. So then it's just the brother and sister left. And they're in their late 40s or their early 50s. And he's like, maybe if we get inside of a metal tube, we can escape. Because there's some sort of like rocks around them that are affecting how they age. And if they try to leave through the cave, since the difference between how rapidly they are aging to what's normal is so different, they like pass out. I don't understand. And someone is called Midsize Sedan in the movie. Yeah, that's the rapper. His name is Midsize Sedan. I don't get it. So they're like, the 6-year-old, 50-year-old boy is like, maybe if we build a metal tube, we can wear it and escape through the tunnel. And she's like, where are we gonna get metal from? And he's like, I don't know. And so he's like, my friend Idlib, who is the vacation owner's son, he's like, he wrote me a message that I should decode, because that's what we were doing when we were playing together. She's like, you should decode it. And it says, oh wait, it's his uncle. It says, my uncle does not like the coral. And then they look, and all of a sudden they see this big fucking coral reef that's huge, that no one pointed out before. and people had tried to swim away and died. And they're like, the coral is the secret. And so they swam to the coral, found a way to get inside of it, and it was like a tube to escape. And then there's a guy on the hill watching them and making sure that they die. And also watching all of them die. And then he's like, they didn't come up for a minute, so they must be dead. And so then he leaves, and they show basically what the island is this pharmaceutical company called Werner and Werner or something like that, collects all of these people who have some sort of either mental illness or physical illness. I did watch this on the plane. So they gather up people who have mental illnesses or physical illnesses, and then they put them on this island. And what they do is they monitor the changes in their physique and in their mentality in this like rapid space of time, instead of just having to watch them for 40 years. And they give them medicine before they go. Chavers, thank you so much for 18 months. So they give them medicine before they go to the beach, and then they see if the medicine worked. I don't know how they didn't die underwater, because yeah, that would have also been a long time too. So then they were like, the guy's like, we should say a few words for the people that died, because thanks to them, now we can cure, because one of the lady had really bad epilepsy, and she didn't have any seizures until like really, really late. So they had made her a medicine that had successfully cured her seizures for 17 years. And so then they were like, cool, now we solved that. But then the people showed up, and they were like, they found the guy that was the police officer, because the kid remembered him because he said, what's your name and your occupation? And then they reported the whole island. And then that was it. And they called the auntie, and they were like, can we come home? And the auntie's like, who the fuck are you, you 50-year-old man? And they were like, we're your child. And that was it. And I watched the whole thing because the premise was kind of cool, but the film itself was so fucking terrible. Spoilers. It was so bad. But that was that. It was bad. You can watch this film and be like, what would be good about watching this is to watch this film and then write down everything bad about it, because it's the whole thing.